We've been talking about the fear of the unknown and the 4 major decisions in my life. I realized that they have another thing in common. They all affected my vocation of the priesthood. I first felt called to the priesthood when I started into, quote, Catholic school in, I believe, in 1970, and I signed up for altar boy classes. And so I began serving at the altar, and 3 years later, we quit the Novus Ordo, which is the first major decision. Now, in pursuing a vocation, it's like one of those things that was in my mind. I served at the altar, I'd be a priest. So when this is 5th grade, when it hit me between 5th and 8th grade, I figured, you don't do anything serious about such a thing until you get out of high school. So that was way off in the future. But when we quit Novus Ordo, we didn't know of a Catholic bishop out there. Like, where would I go? The only priest I knew was Father James Dunphy, who was coming through on an irregular basis. Maybe I'll tell his story someday, because it's quite fascinating what I know of it. In any case, we thought, we're back in the catacombs, only we're above ground, thank the good Lord. But that's where we thought we're at. Getting ordained, how to get ordained. Now, this decision happened November, I think, 14th of 72. I've roughly figured out the day. I know it was a Tuesday. And this was a simple decision on my part. I was only 13 years old. You might say, well, the decision was just made for you. It was kind of forced on you. Yes and no. When Mom explained it to me, because Dad was working that night, he worked 4 to midnight. It made total sense. I could see the difference between the Latin Mass said by Father Dunphy and this English garbage we were going to every week. I was seeing these liberal nuns there in the parochial school I was going to. I'd already been to a coffee table Mass with the young priests there. I was the only one who knelt through the canon. I was seeing it, and I didn't like it. At 13, you do what you're told. It was so this was a simple decision. It did affect my vocation. I did find out about the existence of Society of St. Pius X a couple of years later. That's where I'll go when the time comes. But I do want to think about this particular decision because it was about 2 years later I was looking back on. Now, you're 15 years old. You've learned a few things, hopefully. I'm looking back on it, and I thought to myself, after hearing a few things like I did not go to the Catholic high school, not just because we quit Novus Ordo. I wouldn't have been going if we'd stayed in, because it had a reputation that parents sent their children to the Catholic high school and they lost their faith. The priest called up Mom, why isn't David enrolled in the Catholic high school here? And Mom told him what she'd heard and says, oh yes, there's some truth to that, but we're doing better now. He didn't even deny it. But in any case, from age 15, about 2 years after we quit Novus Ordo, I'm looking back and I said to myself, if I had stayed in the Novus Ordo, I would have lost my faith. I was certain of it then. I am certain of it now. Now, so this decision, yes, we launched out into the unknown. Maybe it's what helped me when I came to later decisions. Because we launched out the unknown because it was the thing to do, and we just did it. And so that was a simple decision. I'll get to the next one in another video.